y'all. Okay, so tonight we're going to do another just southern favorite, but we're going to do it a different type of way. Have y'all ever had or made meatloaf balls? Well, if you haven't, you're going to want to make them. They are delicious. I have not made these in years, y'all. These were something that I used to make for Kainen, and I have not made them since the last time we had them. So he has been so heavy on my mind, and I just want to make them, okay? So let's get going with it, and we'll talk a little bit more about them. So here I have some ground beef. I like to use ground beef for my meatloaf, just because I feel like it's more tender to use a fattier meat. Now you can do a chuck or a round, whatever you want to do. But this is just my preference, and I always cook my meatloaf on my broiler pan, so all that grease takes care of itself, okay? Now, if I didn't cook it in that, then I would use a leaner meat. Let's see, how much is in here? All right, so this is almost 2 pounds in here, so let's do about that much. That's maybe a little bit over a pound, but that'll be plenty. Okay, all right, y'all, let me wipe my hand off real quick. Okay, y'all, first thing we're going to do is season up our ground beef a little bit. I like to use some of this Lipton onion soup mix. I don't always use this, but if I have it, I like to use it. I kind of change it up from time to time. But y'all know I like to use a spoon if I'm not using the whole pack. That way you can get some of each out. So I'm just going to do about maybe half of this pack. Now, if I was doing a full like 2 pounds of ground beef, I would probably go ahead and do the whole pack, okay? So just however much of that you want. I'm gonna do some garlic powder. Let's do this other end, be a little bit quicker. Garlic powder in there. Of course, I like to do a little bit of my parsley. All right, and then some salt and pepper. Oops. And I go easy on the salt because of the onion soup mix. But now if you don't use that, you'd want to do a little bit more salt. All right, and some pepper. Okay, we got that in there. And then now I have some diced up bell pepper and some onion. Now, whenever I make my big meatloaf, and I use a lot because I love the flavor of them. When I do a regular size meatloaf, sometimes I will saute these. Sometimes I don't, but I don't whenever I'm making the little balls because they're so small, and when we cook them for a good while, they cook up and get really good and soft. So I don't worry about doing that when I'm making the balls, but you can if you want to. All right, some W sauce. We're going to do a couple dashes of that, just like that. All right, I've got some crackers here. I'd already crushed these earlier. I put them in this Ziploc bag because I felt like the end kind of popped open a little bit here. And these are just saltine crackers. You can use Ritz or Club, whatever your preference is. Let's see here. I usually have about that much left. I know that sounds crazy, but that's about the amount that I use every single time. And I'll eat those. I love crackers. It don't matter to me if they're crushed or what they are. I may add a few more in. We'll just see once we get to mixing it up. Okay, we got that. And we're going to do some milk. I got this little measuring cup out so we could kind of know about how much. This is a 1/2 cup. So let's see. Let's start with that. About 1/2 cup of milk. We may add more. All right, and I like to do ketchup. If you want to do tomato sauce, you can. I just always have done ketchup. Just going to squeeze some in, about like that. Okay, I don't know how much that is, y'all. You can see here, just to kind of give you an idea. And then I'm going to do 1 egg. If I do 2 pounds, I would do 2 eggs, okay? So 1 egg. All right. And I believe that's it. Now we just got to get in there and mix. I basically, I can't remember if I said it, but I basically do this just like I do my regular meatloaf. But y'all, these little balls are so good. I used to make these for Kainen, which of course we would have them for dinner, and then they were perfect to throw in the fridge. And when he got home from school or work or whatever he was doing at the time, he would get them out and heat them up, and y'all, he loved them. One of his favorite meals was the meatloaf balls, mashed potatoes, creamed corn, macaroni and cheese. And that was the last meal, or the last time that I made these. That's what we had, and a squash casserole. I will not forget that night, the last time I made these. But anyway, I'm just going to get my hand in here and mix these up. Y'all know I just like to put a glove on. It's just easier for cleanup. You don't have to if you don't want to. Okay. Now remember, this is something kind of like your biscuits and other things like that. You really don't want to overwork it. You want everything to be mixed up good, but you don't want to overwork it. So I usually just kind of try to fold it like this and just kind of be as gentle as you can. But, you know, of course, we have to get that mixed up, especially that egg and all of that. Y'all tell me, have you ever made meatloaf balls? They are just, like I said, I love meatloaf, and we always, that's the reason why we love this so much, is because we always love the edge of the meatloaf, because it, you know, have that little crisp on it. Well, that's how I cook these, to where all of these get that on it, and it makes every single one of them delicious. I'm going to put a little bit more ketchup. Just a couple little more swirls like that, y'all. And maybe another splash of milk. I want it to be really moist. Okay, like that. And then I think I'm going to do a little bit more of our crackers. You'll see why I don't have written recipes. This is why. Because I don't never know how I'm going to make it myself, much less to try to tell somebody else or to write it down. I think if I were to write it down, it would confuse people more. That's why I say, well, I just got to show you, because it's going to confuse you if I try to write it down. Okay, I think that's going to be pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and get going with it. And how we're going to do this, y'all. Let's see. All right, let me put on my other glove now. I wanted to leave one hand open, that way I could grab this stuff to add extra, because I usually always have to do that. So we're just going to roll these up. I mean, basically, instead of having like your meatballs or your sausage balls, it's just little meatloaf balls. I mean, and you can make them however big or small you want. I like to do mine about like this. And then I just sit them on my broiler. I sprayed this with some spray. And I just cook them on here. No matter how I make my meatloaf, I always cook it on this broiler pan. I put some foil in there. It helps for easy cleanup. The grease, you don't have to worry about all that old grease. It's perfect. Ever since I started making my meatloaf, I have made it on my broiler pan. I don't remember who it was that told me to do that, but the first time I can remember my first time ever making meatloaf, and I remember doing it on my broiler pan. It was the first time I had ever used it. You know, it comes with your stove, and it was my first time ever using the pan, and I think that's about all I ever use it for, to be quite honest with you. Okay, y'all, you can see here. Let me go ahead and slide these off, because I'm going to turn that camera off anyway. This is how they look. Just some little balls. And I am going to make these out however many it makes. Get them popped on here. Let's hope that we have the right amount for the amount of room here. Typically, this is about what I do, about 1 pound, maybe a little bit over. And I'll come back and we're going to do our glaze for them. All right, y'all, look at our meatballs. They came out perfect. The perfect amount. I'm telling you, I would not lie to you. Look at this bow. I mean, exactly just right. I couldn't believe it, because sometimes I get it just right and sometimes I don't. All right, so in here, I like a lot of glaze. And whenever I do it this way, I like to spoon some over. And then later on, I like to be able to brush a little bit more on there because it kind of runs off. So I do a lot, but you can do however much you want. In this cup here, I'd say I have at least a good cup of ketchup, okay? Maybe even a little bit more, but a good cup at least. All right, we're going to do a splash of our W sauce. Not much of this, just a splash, just like that. Okay? And then I do some mustard. Let's see. I'm going to do about a teaspoon. Okay? You see that? About a teaspoon of mustard. And then I've got some brown sugar here. I think in here I have close to, it's been sitting out here a minute, done got a little hard. Let me get it softened back up. There we go. I like to add a little bit at a time because y'all know how I am about sweetness, but I'll probably have to add this whole thing, but let's start with a good tablespoon, okay? Let's go ahead and do about a tablespoon and a half, and we'll probably need that other. All right, let's mix. Oh yeah, and I like to do just a sprinkle of smoked paprika. This is something I've kind of added later on. You don't have to do this, but I do like that little bit of smoke it gives it. Just a light sprinkle. All right, let's mix and see where we're at. This is one of those things you have to just kind of do it a little taste test, and then you'll know. You gotta get all that brown sugar mixed in. I can see some little clumps in there. I see I measured that out a little bit ago, and it's just been sitting here. I had it covered, but I didn't think about it clumping up on me. Let's see. There's a big old piece of it. Let's get that mashed up. Let's see, I'm just going to put this on my finger here, y'all. Yeah, it's a little tart, so I'm just going to go ahead and put the rest of the brown sugar. So that's about 2 tablespoons. I think that'll make it just fine. Okay. All right, y'all, let me work with these little pieces that are in here. I'm just going to have to just kind of, really, really mix. And I'll come back and we'll get it served over our meatballs. Okay, I think I got it. I swapped over to a spoon and just kind of mashed it up against the side of the bowl. Y'all know what I'm talking about. All right, so then you're just going to take your little spoonful and just kind of glaze it over the top just like that. Not a whole spoonful, not a tablespoon. I'd say more about a teaspoon or so. Okay. You see there, and it's going to run down on there, but I like to keep out a little bit so that later on, after they cook for a little bit, I can get my little brush and brush some on there, okay? And they do this a lot, the little individual ones like this in the little muffin tin, or the little muffin pans. And you can do that, and that's kind of where I got this idea, but you have all that grease sitting in there, and I thought, well, I can do that and just put it on my little roaster pan, just like I do my regular meatloaf. So that's kind of how I come up with this little idea years ago. And then, of course, Kainen absolutely loved it because he loved the meatloaf. And then it just turned into a little favorite of ours. Or broiler pan, not roaster pan. I always do that with this pan. I can never remember what it's called, like I should. But this is about the only time I ever use it, is for my meatloaf. Do y'all use yours very much? I can't think of really, I guess it'd be good to roast like some meat on or something, like a chicken or pork chops or whatever, but y'all know I ain't never done that, but I guess I could. I was about to run out of room. I thought I need to do one more row, and so I had to kind of go back and push them all down that way to give me enough room down here, but we made it work. Okay, y'all. We've got all of them good and coat. I may just kind of rub a little bit more or just kind of take my spoon and rub on them a little bit more. But this is it. I've got my oven on 350. I'm gonna pop them in there, and these are probably gonna cook, y'all, for a good hour. I can't remember, it's been so long, but I mean close to that at least. So because I like for them to get good. That's the whole point of these, is they get that good crispy edge on them, and y'all, they are just absolutely delicious. Okay, all right, y'all, I'm gonna pop these in there and I'll be back. Hey y'all, look at these. I just got these out of the oven. There went little Belle. Oh no, she come up here getting her drink. Look at these though, y'all. Goodness gracious. All right, I'm gonna let them sit here and cool off for a minute while I drain my potatoes and whip these up. Now I know I've already had mashed potatoes, what, a few days, or whenever I had those pork chops. So normally I wouldn't already have mashed potatoes again, but you can't have meatloaf without mashed potatoes. Y'all know that. So I'm gonna drain these, get these whipped up. I know y'all know how I make my potatoes. And I'll come back and we're gonna try these little meatloaf balls, okay? There's our sweet little girl. She got down to get her a drink. I'll put her back up in her chair. Okay, let's fix up our plate, y'all. Goodness, this house smells so good. I wish y'all could smell it in here right now. These look fantastic. All right, so I mashed up my potatoes. Y'all don't pay attention to this big bowl that I have here. You know, you can't mix them in your pan. And I was making such a small amount, I didn't want to use too shallow of a bowl. You know what I mean? So get mashed potatoes all over the place. So anyway, let me get this little spoon out because we're going to need a bigger one. Let me show you how I like to serve these up. Y'all see here? I got my bowl here. Okay. Put you some mashed potatoes. Put down in there. And y'all, if you haven't seen, if you're new here and you haven't seen how I do my mashed potatoes, I just do, I love the Yukon Gold. That is my favorite. And I just do butter, heavy cream, a little spoonful of sour cream, and salt. Lots of butter though. And I don't do any pepper. I do not like pepper on my mashed potatoes. I eat pepper on every other potato, but not my mashed potatoes. I don't know why. All right, so then we're gonna get some of these out. Look at this, y'all. Isn't that good? You could also stick toothpicks in these and serve these up if you just have like a lot of little foods. These are perfect for that also. Put you some toothpicks in there and I promise you everybody will love them. All right, I'm gonna set that down in there like that. Get my napkin here. Oh, I done set that spoon on it. Hang on. All right. Now, of course, most of the time I would have other side dishes, but tonight, just for me, I'm just going to do this. Y'all, this has been one of the hardest things for me to make that Kainen loved. I've wanted to make this a few times. I know y'all don't understand it, and I understand. Some of y'all do, but the ones that don't, I understand that you don't understand. But I look at it like, be thankful that you don't understand. You know what I'm saying? It's like this was just, I mean, Braden doesn't eat meatloaf. So this was just one of those things that I just made, you know. I love them too, but you know, you do, like, me, cooking is my love language. So it was just such a big part of our lives. Me cooking for my boys and making their favorite dishes and just spoiling them with good food all the time. It was just a big deal. And so sometimes whenever I go to make something, it's just really hard. It just is. But anyway, y'all know I don't like to do sad videos. I like to be positive. But I do like to kind of be honest with y'all too about it sometimes, on how I'm feeling. And just, you know, he's just been weighing on my mind these last few days. And I mean, he's on my mind every day, but some days are harder than others, and these last few days have been hard. Somebody commented the other day, and if it was you, you know who you are, but you commented on something, I can't remember what the post was, and said you had made meatloaf and something else. I thought, oh, meatloaf sounds so good. I thought, I haven't made one in a minute, and then I thought, you know, I should make those meatloaf balls, and then I said, no, I'm not going to. And then I kind of went back and forth with it, but I'm glad I did. I think y'all will love these, and I really want you to make them, okay? But let me give it a try. I know I'm just yakking here. Y'all, these are fantastic. These are perfect for meal prep. You know, make you up some, put them in the fridge for your lunches throughout the week. They are so good. I mean, you could just eat them just by themselves. That's why I say stick a toothpick in them. And just sit them out there whenever, you know, when you're having a lot of foods and your little, when you do, what are the little cocktail sausages and all of that, make you some, this will be something different. This is not something you're going to see all the time on the little finger food table. So everybody will love them, I'm telling you. Absolutely delicious, y'all. I hope y'all try these. It's just, I know it's just meatloaf, but it just has a different taste, a different feel to it. It's just different. Let me let you see them one more time because they're just so pretty. I love how they look. They're just eye-catching. You know, like people be like, oh, what's that? You know? Anyway, it just, like I said, it takes my heart straight to Kainen and reminds me of that last time that we had them. You know, that's what happens whenever you don't realize it's the last time until it is. And so that's why I try to, that's why it aggravates me whenever some people will be so aggravated or upset or mad about just petty stuff. And I'm just like, you know, that don't even worry about that. You know, focus on your blessings. And I know I wasn't always as good about it as I am now. You know, I think sometimes it just takes us having to go through such a hard time to realize how short life can be and how quick things and people that we love can be taken from us. Because like I said, that's the simplest truth that I can say is you don't know it's the last time until it is. And that's just the way that it is. And when it is, it is. There's no there's no redo. There's no rewind. And so just be appreciative. Love on your kids. Hug them. Tell them you love them. Be proud of them. And be thankful for them. And anyway, I don't want to get too deep in this. I don't want to get upset on here. And like I said, I like to be positive with y'all. But I want y'all to make these meatloaf balls. They are delicious. You will love them. You'll know why Kainen loved them so very much. And you'll know why it was so hard for me to make them. Because it was just something special that we had. But anyway, I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.